and engage with us, please request and let me know. So we will get started. I will go ahead and introduce Sergeant Jonathan Estridge. Sergeant First Class Jonathan Estridge is a highly decorated U.S. Army veteran with over 20 years of service, blending combat medical expertise with advanced cybersecurity leadership. He served as a combat medic during 2 deployments in Iraq and was later stationed in Qatar in 2019. Following nearly a decade of frontline medical care, he transitioned into information technology, rising through the ranks as a network operations leader. He has held senior IT roles, including NCOIS, ISC, excuse me, Team Chief, and currently Staff NCO, where he oversees secure military systems, classified network architecture, and privileged user access. SFC Estridge holds a BS in Public Safety Management, an AS in Homeland Security, and a graduate certificate in Conflict Mediation. His professional certifications include CompTIA Security Plus, Network Plus, and multiple U.S. Army leadership credentials such as USAR Security Manager and ACE SI Tier 3. Throughout his career, he has demonstrated a mission-first mindset across combat zones, IT infrastructure, and crisis response environments, embodying a rare blend of technical acumen and operational resilience. So welcome, Sergeant Estridge. Thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you, Captain Josephine, for also joining us today and allowing us all to have this conversation, which is such an important conversation. So if you could get started, Sergeant Estridge, and tell us about your recent experience and what your post was on social media that had deemed you as a possible threat to national security.
So I had a total of 13 posts flagged. 7 of them had to do with Palestine and Israel, and then 4 of them were about ICE. One of them was about was a repost from Bruce Springsteen, and the last one was a post thanking the president of Mexico for sending rescuers to save people during the Texas floods. And so that's kind of what blows my mind about this is like, how is like that last one? How is a post with me thanking the president of Mexico make me a threat to national security? Or how does a post of me supporting Palestine being free make me a threat to national security? Like, none of this stuff makes sense at all. And that's the thing. Like, today, I got interviewed yesterday by news media, Task and Purpose, and they had reached out to the military, and of course the military denied pretty much everything. They said that according to I don't know if anyone's read the article, but they reached out to someone and they denied that they would punish a soldier for supporting Palestine and being negative toward Israel. And that's what the person who wrote the article. But it's like, what else is it? If it's not that, why did you flag 7 posts that was based on exactly that? If you wouldn't punish someone for that.
And do you feel like your rights of like freedom of speech and freedom of expression were stripped as an American citizen and a member of the U.S. military?
I definitely do. And I think that's something that Congress should definitely address, because how are we expected to uphold the Constitution if the Constitution doesn't even apply to us? Like,
Yeah.
that just makes no sense to me at all.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it just felt like an absolute betrayal, because for the last, I've been in this unit since 2020, and I've worked my butt off for this unit. I picked up a lot of extra duties that other people didn't want to do, just to be told, because of your post, you're no longer needed here, and we're going to investigate you as a possible threat to national security. Like, there was no warning. There was nothing. They could have said, hey, take the post down. They didn't. They just pulled me into the office and ended up walking me out the door and told me I'm under investigation. And it just makes no sense.
And Captain Josephine, you're very vocal and outspoken for, Palestine and against Zionism and what Israel's doing and exposing the crimes. How do you, feel when you see other fellow, veterans, going through this? And what message I'm going to ask you first, like what message would you want? And do you urge more soldiers, or I'm sorry, more veterans to speak up for the truth and against Israel and the crimes that they're committing? And then I'll ask you the same thing, Sergeant Estridge, after.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say that I'm surprised by what he's going through right now, especially under this administration. Or if I'm being honest with you, I don't think I'd be surprised under the Biden administration that we would see the persecution of our active duty soldiers taking a stance against genocide. I think the biggest issue is that standing against these types of crisis somehow gets categorized as some sort of like political affiliation one way or the other. And I think that's like the disjustice that has happened inside of our country, where the slaughtering of human beings is like underneath the umbrella of political speak or talk, or whatever they want to characterize it as, and which is like some of the barriers that I think we need to break down, and that will be broken down by things like what's happening now with Jonathan, because it's going to, and I'm praying that, he has the strength to take this all the way, because it's going to make the military reflect back on itself, because we swore an oath to the Constitution. And if you haven't read the Constitution, I like, especially as an American, I really, encourage you to do that, because that is the oath that we took. And it was not to a foreign nation, and it was not even to a presidential administration or like a party. That's not what the military is intended for, and that's not what our Constitution intends. So it's disheartening, but at the same time, I know that these types of things have to happen in order for there to be an impactful change to what we're witnessing right now. So that's sort of where I stand. It's unfortunate that we, as veterans or active duty, have to like carry the burden of that, but at the same time, it's almost like a blessing, because it takes a strong person to carry the burden to make an impactful change. And I had conversations with other military colleagues today about Jonathan, and I said, I feel confident that he has the courage and strength to see this through. I don't see this being something that he's going to back down from. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what sort of change comes from this situation.
Go ahead, Sergeant Estridge, if you wanted to also chime in and kind of respond to the question of, do you urge urge and hope other veterans to speak up against the crimes that Israel is committing, and speak up for the truth?
I definitely do. I think more veterans should speak up for the things they've seen, the things that they know are going on. Because if they don't, nothing's ever going to change. We are, when I got ready for my first deployment in 2007 to go to Iraq, we moved out of Fort Lewis, or no, we moved out of Fort McCoy, and we spent a week in language training. And part of that, pretty much the majority of that language training was brainwashing us to hate Muslims. And it was absolutely ridiculous. All they did during that whole week of training, they taught us a few words to say, and the rest of it was, they're terrorists, they're bad people. And it's horrible to view them that way, because they're not. These people, if you believe in God, we are all created by God. So whether you're a Muslim, whether you're a Jew, whether you're a Christian, if we're all created by God, we're all equal. So why is it that we want to, kill Muslims or kill brown people? But it seems like, since the colonizing times, that's all they've done. And that's my thing. One of the things that hurts me a lot is that the same thing happened here in America over a 400-year period where the Native Americans were killed. 95% of them were wiped out. And I wasn't here to stand up for them. If I had been here, I would have stood up for them. But I am here now, and that's one of the reasons why I stand up for the people in Gaza and for the Palestinian people, because the same thing is happening to them. Israel is stealing their land. Israel's killing them, and it's just wrong.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
literally watched a video the other day of an 11-year-old girl carrying water in Gaza,
Yes.
and they dropped a bomb on her. They dropped a bomb on an 11-year-old girl. Like, how do you do that?
How do you
And claim
justify
to
that?
be and claim
Mm-hmm.
to be the most righteous military in the world. And they always say we just want peace. It's like they're terrorizing the Middle East. They're terrorizing their neighbors. They constantly go to war with their neighbors, and then when their neighbors retaliate, they say we just want peace. Why are they why are they shooting missiles at us? It's like they don't understand that what they did deserves retaliation. And it's because of that mindset of them thinking that they're the chosen people, that they can get away with whatever they want and do whatever they want, and there's no consequences. And that's because for the last 70 plus years, the world has let them live like that. They've let them get away with that.
Yeah, I want to caveat off of what he's saying about a call to veterans to speak out because, you know, we both have experience working in the intelligence community, and what comes with that is a lot of training on, like terrorists and like tactical procedures of terrorists and the way they operate. And what Israel is doing fits inside of the definition and like the doctrine of what we're trained to look out for. The state of Israel and the way that they are operating and the things that they are doing in causing terror is the definition of what we are trained in the military to view terrorists. We call those actions terrorist actions. And I think that that word has been so like in our minds desensitized after 9/11 that now it's just like we call anybody and anything a terrorist, including myself. Of course, I've been called a Hamas terrorist. I'm Hamas supporter. I'm Hezbollah terror. I'm all the terror. I'm a terrorist now. And it's made me realize that we don't even actually apply that word in the way we are trained to. But when you look at the data, when you look at what Israel is actually doing, they are, by the definition of terrorists. That's the part that really shocks me as someone who dedicated my life to counterintelligence, counterterrorism. It's like, what did I spend my entire life learning and training for if it's right in front of our faces, and as a military entity, we're doing nothing about it. As a government, we're doing nothing about it. In fact, we're funding it. It just really makes you open your eyes. And that's why it's so important as veterans, because we are able to speak to those facts. We were in the war machine. We were a part of this death and destruction. And so when the narrative tries to come back, like I see some people in the comment section, I know you have some Zionists here, their opinions, their justification means absolutely nothing when you're talking to someone like me or Jonathan, because we literally were a part of this, and nothing that you can say will justify anything because we know what we're talking about. And so your propaganda won't get past us. It won't diminish us. It
Yep.
cannot happen. And that's why it's so important for military veterans in America, no matter what party affiliation, to speak out, because we have got to have people who are credible from the military. I say credible, trained, understanding of the war machine, understanding what self-defense is, to speak out against this. And I feel like we have made strides as veterans since this movement started 2 years ago. So many more veterans are coming out. Even the ones that submitted resignations are finally making speeches. And so I think like we're going to continue to grow, because this isn't ending and anytime soon. And so we have to keep fighting until they are prosecuted and go to The Hague and face punishment. That's basically how long this fight is going to be.
100%. And do you both feel, and I think you guys kind of sort of covered it, but for everybody listening, that there is a priority of foreign interests over American values when it comes to, the US military right now, and you both speaking out and getting the criticism and the backlash that you are getting?
There's no doubt that there is, and that's because Israel's aid pact has existed since the 1950s, and they give money to every member of Congress except five. There are only five members not accepting money from them. So, of course, all these members of Congress are going to vote for Israel's best interest, whether it's America's best interest or not, because Israel is funding their campaigns. And Israel is a foreign entity. And that's one thing that gets me. I didn't vote for Trump. I don't like Trump. But in 2016, he was prosecuted. The big deal about Russian interfering in the election between him and Hillary Clinton. But yet, over 70 years of Israel interfering in our elections, and nobody says anything. So tell me how he was wrong with Russia interfering in his election, but Israel, all these other politicians aren't wrong with Israel interfering in their elections.
Yep. And did you want to also respond, Captain Josephine?
Yeah, sorry, I got totally distracted by the comment section for a second, because there's someone called Zaddy that claims he's a special ops guy, and I just want to point out, you're talking to two people who have in combination 47 years of military service. What are you talking about in the comment section? You need to reflect on yourself. If you truly are a veteran that served in the military, I don't think you've done enough reflecting, and I'm really calling you to do that, because we're witnessing children dying, and your voice could potentially be powerful to stop what's happening right now. And please just come on the right side of history.
Yeah, he's I'm sure you can already probably tell from the comments, he is a pro-Israel veteran, as he claims he is. And so this conversation is very triggering, and you can see it, just you speaking out, just being American vets speaking out against Israel is triggering those Zionists, because they want the allegiance, they want United States of Israel, not the United States of America. And Americans are finally coming out and saying enough is enough. It's no longer that. Like you mentioned, you took your oath to the United States, Sergeant Estridge, and both Captain Josephine as well, not to Israel. But if you wanted to also kind of chime in, Captain Josephine, about if you feel like there's a priority of foreign interests over American values.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, one of the things that I realized even before October 7th happened was during the Ukraine-Russian war. And I took a lot of, there's this, ongoing question, why'd you only do 17 years? Well, the reality is because I didn't want to go fight against Russia. And a good friend of mine who was a combat medic, I was a combat medic before, an intelligence officer, got a warning order to mobilize to the border of Poland to provide Echelon 2 care for people coming out of Ukraine. And if you don't know what that means, it's just basically a field hospital similar to what we're seeing inside of Gaza. Jordan had set up several field hospitals. And I thought, that's too close. I don't want to do that. Why are we fighting this war? What is it? And I took a lot of time to research how, invested our politicians are inside of these other areas, whether it's like mineral rights, mineral investments, or like oil. And that was sort of like the gateway into me understanding the corruption that exists inside of our politicians. And so, and even like insider trading, I've done a lot of research on the insider trading inside of our congressional staff and our senators. And that's when I sort of realized that the way that they move the chessboard has more to do with them filling their pockets with money than what is in the best interest of the people inside of America. And you're witnessing that again in this situation with Israel, because you have so many politicians that have been financially invested to by AIPAC, or have financial investments in like the military industrial complex, for example. So they need the weapons manufacturers to produce weapons. They need Israel to be using weapons in order for there to be more contracts of weapons. And so, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a level of corruption, but I don't think it's just foreign policy. I think, you know, the greed for money, greed for power plays a big role in what's moving these politicians to make the decisions that they're making, whether it's with Israel or Ukraine or even Sudan and Congo. It's like their pockets and the deals, they've made deals with the devil, basically. They've made deals over money. They've made these deals with these, nonprofit organizations that pay millions of dollars. Look at Cori Bush. Cori Bush was, Representative Bell took her seat. It cost AIPAC $12 million to get rid of Cori Bush. I mean, this is insane amount of money. So yeah, there's definitely a level of corruption, and I think our foreign policy is based on that for sure. Absolutely.
Man, what are both? It's just so interesting to see the response. And by the way, a lot of these people that are pro-Israel, they're, you know, like you mentioned, Zadie, in the comments, he's a vet. Why is it that being America first is triggering to a lot of Zionists or pro-Israel supporters? Why do you feel like they are so triggered when you American veterans are here saying America first only and not, you know, elsewhere? Why do you feel like this is the response that we're getting?
I'd like to answer first, because this is obviously, I've been in this space for almost 2 years now, and it's something that I've thought about and prayed about a lot. And if I'm giving you like a super honest answer from a place of love, I just really feel like in their environment, their upbringing, all of the factors that are involved with the people that they have been in contact with have brainwashed them to believe that the things that they believe. And I come from a place of myself, like having those brainwash layers, like Jonathan mentioned earlier, you know, this training that he received was more of like a brainwashing to get us prepared to, you know, execute people of that look like Arab, Middle Eastern, in traditional clothing, like speak Arabic. Like that brainwashing starts as children here in America, especially people after 9/11. When I was I think I was in 7th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade. I mean, this had such a huge impact on American people. And Zadie, for example, I mean, he just has layers of brainwashing, and it's all from a psychological perspective related to who are his parents, where did he go to school, where did he grow up, who were his mentors. These are all like environmental factors that have shaped him to see what's happening to the people in Palestine and still not be able to understand that those children are his children. It's this level of brainwashing and a hardening of the heart, really, because anyone that can't see any child, you know, be like a victim of what is going on, for me, like, you've lost the plot as a human being on this earth. And so it comes with strategy too. The Zionist regime and like other evil regimes that came before the Zionists, they're very strategic on how they begin this. They plan in phases of decades. This isn't just like, oh, we're gonna do this no, they've been working on this for hundreds of years. They are very smart, and now the technology has come into play. that is where they are trying to catch up, because I think they underestimated the ability of us to use technology across borders globally to get information out there, and they were not prepared to know that everyone would find out the truth. And so we've had technology to our advantage, but the truth is, prior to this, we've all just been brainwashed by our environmental factors. And unless we are educated on the truth and have the heart to see it, because it's not just what your eyes can see, it's what your eyes can see that make your heart feel. And I think like a lot of people just are so disconnected from like reality, from their hearts. And so, you know, it takes a lot of like an onion, just like peeling back layers of individual people to realize what affected them to get here, and how do we like, you know, like take that apart? How do we peel those layers back to get to that human being that is inside of everyone? That's the most like difficult question, right? Because one method does not fit everyone, because everyone has different environmental factors. So it's a very complex situation, and it takes a lot of patience, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, 100%. I agree with you, and I think more people are slowly taking those layers off. Like we're witnessing a major shift in the American um, views when it comes to Israel. For the first time ever, like the average American, I think there was a poll just a few months ago that showed the support for Israel is at an all-time low in the past 20 or 30 years. So absolutely, we're definitely seeing that shift. Sergeant Estridge, did you want to also respond? And then we'll give a chance for a few of the panelists to ask any questions.
Yeah, I think as far as the Zionists and why they hate the American first is because they know that if America stops supporting Israel, Israel's done for. Without our money, without our weapons, they're gone. It's just, you know, whether it's a week, whether it's a month, or even a year, without the US standing behind them, they are gone. And I think that's why it's so triggering for them, because they know that the more of us that come out and say American first, stop sending our weapons to the terrorist Israel regime to kill women, children, and babies, you know, if that happens, if we stop, they're done for. And the thing is, all they got to do is leave Palestine. Palestine belongs to the Palestinians. Almost any country in the world would accept the Jews that are currently illegally occupying Palestine. So there's no reason for them to be there. There's no reason for any of this. Just leave. You stole the land from the Palestinian people. Leave. Give it back. And you won't have to worry about Hamas anymore. You won't have to worry about Hezbollah or Iran or anyone else.
Yes. Oh man, absolutely 100%. And I hope more and more veterans come out and speak about this, because the more Americans and the American veterans that, you know, share the same viewpoints as, you know, both you, Sergeant Estridge, and Captain Josephine, man, it will make a huge shift. And I'd love to see it happen. I'm going to give a chance for some of the viewers and the panelists to ask a question. So go ahead, Linda.
Okay, good evening, Sergeant Estridge, Captain Josephine, good to see you again. I am the daughter of a retired Marine, so I have been familiar with the sentiments among the veteran community the past 2 years, and many of you may be shocked to know that the majority are against Israel's crimes in Gaza. I just wanted to preface that first. But my question is to you, Sergeant. How has this investigation impacted your relationship with fellow service members, especially those with diverse backgrounds and opinions?
You know, I'm still friends with most of my colleagues because it's not their fault. You know, it was the commander that decided to take these actions against me, so I don't have a problem with any of them. I have gotten a lot of support from veterans that are both in the military still and that have retired on my social media pages. So I think a lot of veterans are supporting this because they know it's wrong. You know, no one should be killing babies. No one should be killing children or women or unarmed men for that matter. Like, it doesn't make sense. These people in Gaza are unarmed. Yes, Hezbollah is there, or I'm sorry, Hamas is there, but the majority of the people that are being killed by Israel are civilians. They came out and said it themselves that I believe it's 83% of the people they have killed there are civilians.
Yeah.
And they think it's funny. And that's the other thing, that the IDF, a lot of why the stuff's getting out there is the IDF themselves are filming themselves killing children, killing babies, and they think it's funny. They just laugh about it when they do it. That's how screwed up their country is, because they don't see these people as people at all. They see them as nothing, and that's not what they are. If they truly believed in God, then they would believe that all of God's people are people, regardless of your religion, regardless of the color of your skin. We were all made by God, so we're all the same.
Agreed. Thank you. Before I pass it on to Elias, I did want to ask a question regarding the events of yesterday. Did you all witness what happened at Al-Nasser Hospital in Khan Yunis? And if you can, please explain why a double tap is against international law.
Yes. I don't know like the specific laws that relates to this, but I know from like an operational standpoint, the Israeli military has been surveilling the Gaza Strip from the get-go. They have been very well informed on the fact that journalists and regular civilians use this staircase in order to reach Wi-Fi. This is a well-known fact amongst the community, and even like us here in America, it's just a well-known fact that area was used in order to be able to submit videos and send videos and communicate. And so this certainly was, you're talking about the top of a staircase where the journalists are sitting to reach Wi-Fi. This was not a mishap. This was a very precise, calculated targeting. And the fact that they hit it again tells me that they understood that journalists would be in the area, because many of the journalists do have like their sleeping arrangements set up along like next to these hospitals. They knew that the journalists would respond. And the fact that they attacked again, this is not a mishap. I am telling you, as a 17-year veteran and former intelligence officer that was involved in capture kill missions, this was a very coordinated, planned attack in order to eliminate the journalists inside of Gaza. Because what we are about to witness with Gideon Chariot 2 is going to be so extreme that they are trying to eliminate anyone and everyone that will be able to report on it, because it's going to be the final solution. And it's going to be if we think October and the beginning of November was horrific in how many people they were mass slaughtering, what we are about to witness, if not, it's already started, it's going to be like that again. And they are trying to eliminate as many journalists as possible that cannot get the information out. This was a planned and coordinated attack. And in fact, the Israeli IDF admitted that this was coordinated and has requested that Netanyahu apologize for releasing a statement saying that it was a mishap.
Because the orders were given from the higher ups in order for a tank team to roll out and target a hospital. These are major orders coming from the top. Yes. So there's no denying any of it, no Absolutely. Matter how much he wants to.
What I believe is that it was all coordinated, and that they had this statement, Netanyahu's team created a statement that he would release, because after Anas was murdered by the Israeli terrorists, there was a very big outcry about this. I mean, the algorithms of mainstream media were all over. It was picked up across the world what had happened to him. And so they not only coordinated this attack on the hospital and on these journalists, but they also coordinated how they were going to respond as it pertains to the international community. And so they released this statement, and I have no doubt that that was planned even before the attack came.
Thank you
go ahead, Linda.
both. Thank you both for responding. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Linda. Go ahead, Ilyas.
Okay, yeah, sorry guys, 1 second. I appreciate you guys being here. I do want to tell you that luckily we are starting to see a shift from majority of the world, and even within Israel, more people are aware that history will remember. And we do see people are starting to speak up, whether they're saying that because they might be scared that history will remember and they don't want to be looked at like, I didn't do anything during this HCOS of Gaza. So you guys are definitely standing on the right side of history. And luckily, you should have some more of your colleagues standing with you shortly. One question, say last year, February 2024, we did see this brave young soldier, Aaron Bushnell, take one of the most extreme forms of protest. When that happened, what was kind of the dialogue amongst your colleagues, and were they even aware, and was there any official statement from the military on what his actions were?
Jonathan, I'll let you go. I'm actually genuinely curious what your experience was as someone as an active duty member when that happened.
The only thing I heard about it was on the news. The military never talked about it. It was never brought up, which is, it's kind of strange because you would think that they would because of what happened, but I don't know. Again, maybe it's because they thought it was political and then they just didn't want to get anyone fired up over that kind of thing. But nothing, at least in the unit that I was in, nothing was ever said or come about from that.
I actually attended Aaron Bushnell's vigil at the Israeli embassy. It was my first time putting on my entire dress blues uniform in order to, I don't know, I guess in my mind, I imagine that I would not be the only one at this vigil, like a memorial for him, basically. I thought I would see his chain of command, some of his colleagues, coming out to pay respects and mourn the loss of this, airman who had just lit himself on fire. But I drove, 6 hours from Ohio to this vigil that day. I'll never forget it. And I was the only one there in uniform. And there was just something that was so overwhelming that came over me about it. Was a part of my journey of recognizing how, much they don't care about us. They you are put on such a pedestal when you're in the military in our country. And then to see something like this happen, and it's almost like they wanted to pretend like it didn't happen and no one showed up. And but in a way, I'm happy that no one showed up, because it pushed me into such a rage inside that I stood behind every single camera that I could to interview with my dress blues on that day. And that was sort of the beginning of my activism in the public eye, when I decided to speak openly about the weapons capabilities that we actually have to be able to see people inside of buildings. It's not like that. To me, it's not like that unknown, I guess, but it was confirming and validating for a lot of people, I guess, to hear it from me, someone who's been in the military 17 years. So I think everything happens for a reason, but certainly what he did has moved me into the spaces that I'm in now. For sure, it's motivated me to do more. And I know there was a lot of backlash on the Air Force chain of command for not saying anything. And it moved a lot of other veterans. It moved a lot of active duty people. So what he did, he is a martyr. What he did was not in vain. He has made a huge impact on our communities for sure. So yeah.
I appreciate you guys. Yeah, stay strong, the both of you. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
just a caveat on what she said about people showing up. Last September, one of my soldiers was killed by a drunk driver, and we have a huge company. We have over 200 people in my company, and only 4 of us went to his funeral out of 200, and that was myself, the NCOIC, the OIC, and the commander. And the commander was only there because he felt that he had to be there as the commander. So it's just like, once you're gone, nobody gives a shit about you.
Yes.
200 people in the unit and only 4 of us. It was sad.
I'm so sorry for your loss, Sergeant Estridge. Yeah, I agree, Elias. Thank you so much, Elias, for your question. We'll go to Marine.
Hi, everybody. How's everyone doing?
Good.
Good, and you?
Good, good. Thank you. Big W to Taz for putting this together.
We actually have Anthony Aguilar here with us as well. Sorry, let me just also bring him with us. Just real quick, Marine, 1 second.
Yes, yes.
All right, Anthony, welcome. I just sent you a request for your camera whenever you're ready. Go ahead, Marine. Sorry.
Taz, I'll make it quick since you have, is that the Lieutenant Colonel?
Yes, Colonel Aguilar, Anthony Aguilar.
I'll make it quick, Taz. I do have a question for the panel, and thank you guys for being here. I'll preface it with a statement to the chat. There's nothing more precious to a veteran than his or her benefits that they earned, right? And what I mean by benefits are these medical benefits, the financial benefits that you get from having a service-connected disability. My question to the panel is, have you ever given thought to the fact that perhaps your outspoken views on this issue may cost you your benefits? I know it's kind of far-fetched to say, but now with this administration, you can't put anything past them.
Well, that was one of the things when I got counseled last Thursday. It was in the counseling that if I get a dishonorable discharge because of my post, that I'm going to lose all benefits. And I mean, it is what it is. If I had it to do all over again, I would still do it because I support the people of Palestine, and I support their right to live, and that's all that matters to me.
Respect.
I honestly think that I think that everything has to push the boundaries. And so it would probably not be a bad thing if they attempted to take benefits away from a veteran over this issue, because it would put it on the forefront and force it to go in front of a board and an appeal board. And like the way the veteran affairs is, like the infrastructure of veteran affairs is, like if you appeal, the denial of certain disability benefits, you can go in front of a board of people and it's on record. And so perhaps this could be a good thing to bring more light to how corrupt, our government is when it comes to its unwavering support towards Israel.
Yeah, and hello, Colonel Aguilar. Welcome. I don't know if you heard the question. I'm just gonna real quick put your big screen. Do you want to ask the question real quick, Marine? Thank you for joining us, Colonel Aguilar. It's good to see you again.
I heard the question.
You heard it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, if you can also give us your answer to that, that'd be
Can everybody hear me?
yes.
Yes.
So my one piece will be my position on that, but then also advice for Jonathan from my perspective, having been a UCMJ authority on how you can protect yourself. So in my case, I was, after my 25 years in service, I didn't voluntarily retire. I went through a medical retirement because of my cancer diagnosis, and I had reconstructive surgery on my shoulder and both of my feet. So I was medically retired. So my DOD retirement is not retirement, it's disability from DOD. So that can't be touched. And my VA, the VA is separate from the Department of Defense, entirely separate process. You can be incarcerated and imprisoned and still apply and get your VA, because those are for disabilities that you've incurred, not for performance. So to the VA piece, so with me, I'm 100% totally and permanently disabled. So I have my VA, and my DOD disability is not retirement, because I retired under conditions of chapter 6, which is medical retirement. So I'm safe on those fronts, unless they want to start changing laws, which I guess could happen. But that would definitely bring this into the limelight and raise concerns for a disabled veteran taking his disability away. For Jonathan, you're over 20 years in service, so you're entitled to your VA no matter what. That can't be touched in terms of the application for it. Now your retirement, because you are over 20, it would take the Secretary of the Army and then to the Department of Defense to actually revoke or take away your entitled retirement, which isn't going to happen. I mentioned this a little bit last night, what is likely going to happen in your case, because I bear witness to this on numerous occasions and how it's been done. They will continue this quote unquote investigation. They will not bring it to the threshold of a courts martial, because then that will require an Article 32 grand jury hearing, which will then require an actual judge, to look at the evidence and look at everything that's been raised. And that costs the government, believe it or not. The government is not an empty, bottomless pit. That costs the government a lot of money. So what will likely happen is your command will likely prevent you from even requesting a courts martial, because if they don't do a 15-6, then you aren't entitled to the courts martial option. If you're brought under 15-6, you can request courts martial. I think they're going to keep this entirely in the realm of non-judicial punishment and lay upon you what's called the slow death, where they hit you with some kind of administrative paperwork that then prevents you from being promoted, etc. Now, that's a good and a bad thing. It's a bad thing if you had intention of going 30, 35 years and being the Sergeant Major of the Army. That will prevent that happening. But in terms of the ability to then retire, it doesn't take away your ability to retire, because you're always offered the opportunity, now that you're over 20, to retire in lieu of. So you will be safe in terms of your retirement years of service. And your VA will always be protected. Again, the VA, entirely separate entity from the DOD. Do they somewhat collaborate in terms of your medical records from DOD and what the VA considers? Sure. But you go through an entire VA review of all your medical records. They don't just take DOD's word for it. So your VA is protected. Your retirement is protected. What I would do is, time is on your side. Be patient. Don't stress yourself over what could happen, because so many different ways could happen. Just know that if they decide to go to a courts martial, you're going to be afforded a trial defense counsel. Some of the best judge advocate, quote unquote, attorneys in the military are actually, believe it or not on the government side, in the JAG office of the command, because that's who will prosecute your case, a JAG from the command. Whereas you will be assigned a trial defense attorney, a TDS, who are those officers that get put over into trial defense are super sharp. They're very good at what they do. So you're in good hands. Be patient. Don't, again, I mentioned this slightly last night. Don't compromise your values and where you stand over manipulation and gaslighting, because that's what they'll do. Be strong, stand firm on your principles, and know that you will have so many. If they decide to go to the route to where it's looking like courts martial, great, because then you're protected under law and statute. It goes to a judge, not just a commander sitting in his office making a determination based on his gut feeling, because that's how it often happens in the non-judicial punishment realm. And if it goes in the non-judicial punishment realm, well, then your retirement's still protected. So be patient, and be patient and trust. It's hard to say this. Trust the system, right? Because it's the system that's fucking you. But in terms of the legal side of it, trusting that system, time is on your side. Buy time. And
yeah, I want to caveat off of that, Jonathan, because I'm going to tell you one of the things that I have learned being outside of, my last assignment was actually at DHS. I was a cybersecurity consultant at DHS for critical infrastructure, the top level critical infrastructure that exists inside of our country. And I, was so worried about my career at first. I was like the provider of my family, and I was just like, what am I going to do? But then I realized that cybersecurity exists in Arab countries. And guess what? You have a resume that is filled with certifications and experience of cybersecurity. And I have so many people have reached out to me that are in the cybersecurity realm from so many countries in the Middle East, like just letting me know that when the time comes that I can return to work. I mean, I can't do it now. My mind is like, there is no way that I can do cybersecurity for critical infrastructure right now. Like, it just takes too much brain power, and my brain power is dedicated to try and free Palestine and dismantle Israel in total. But I have had so much validation from so much of this community that perhaps they don't post online or speak out, but they are in this like cyber corporate world that will take care of us. I feel very, very confident about that. And I want you to know that that does exist on the other side of this. So just because our government may deny your clearance and, threaten you that your career is over because you won't have a clearance to work directly with the government, there are other opportunities in the cyber field for you to continue this career.
Thank you so much. And did you want to say anything real quick, Sergeant Estridge, before we go to the next question?
Well, with the attorney, I've actually had a current captain that's currently in reach out to me and say she would represent me in the event that it does go to a court martial. So I have had, those people that are already looking out for me. She followed me on Instagram and sent me a friend request on Facebook, and then she sent me a message on Facebook saying that, if and when the time comes, she would definitely be willing to help and represent me. So
trial defense services attorneys, they're savage. They will represent you hardcore. It's like, it would be like having Josie in the courtroom with you as a JAG. They are hardcore. They don't. They know their stuff. And the but also based on your military career and the particular set of skills that you have, you're going to be better. You'll be fine. And once you hang it up from the military, either way it goes, you will be fine.
Yes.
I have another question, if it's okay, Taz, while we're on the subject of benefits. Hello, Lieutenant Aguilar, first off. So I think it's wild that our veterans are being threatened to be stripped of their benefits, yet we're considering granting similar benefits and protections to those who are dual citizens and serve the IDF. So regarding the bill that was introduced in May of 2024, HR 8445, what are your opinions on this if in fact it does get passed into law?
I think that is
Wild.
that is disgusting. I think it's a betrayal to the Americans. That, remember, we are not in a conscription or compulsory service military. This is a volunteer force. So when a veteran raises their right hand and serves in harm's way and puts their, one way it was explained to me is that when you're in the service, you're giving Uncle Sam a blank check. You're giving Uncle Sam a blank check to your life, and to simply provide the backing of that blank check, if you will, to others based on their service to a foreign government. God, that is, George Washington would be rolling over in his grave right now. That is, my lack of better terms, it's bullshit.
Well, we can talk about these benefits, which is incredibly frustrating, right, as a veteran. But if you guys have not read the NDAA 2026, they have released, okay, let me just break this down. The National Defense Authorization Act gets passed every year. This is the Department of Defense budget. The way that this works is that they reach out to COCOM commanders with their requirements, their strategic requirements as an administration, and they rely on these very high-level commanders to do this analysis of what it would cost and what resources it would take in order to meet the requirements that they are requesting. Well, they have, all the COCOM commanders have submitted their initial findings of the resources that it would take in order to fulfill this. So NDAA FY 26. The amount of money that we are about to give to Israel surpasses this benefit bill. We are giving money to build these prosthetic amputation rehabilitation centers, both here in America and in Israel. Emerging technologies, counter unmanned aerial systems, we're about to pay for that. Anti-tunnel cooperation, that's another 80 million. Defense Innovation Unit, what are national technology and industrial base, more precision guided munitions, maritime domain. We are about to give them billions of dollars. That bill is set to come and get voted on at the end of the fiscal year, FISCAL, fiscal year. That's the end of September. When all of the congressional members come back, September 2nd, this is going to go to the floor for them to vote on. It's going to go to the House. It's going to go to the Senate. They're going to each amend the bill in the way that they want, and then they're going to try and, in a bipartisan way, make the bill where they all agree and then send it to the president for signature. The amount of money we are about to sign to give to Israel is significant. And, you can look at this bill and use it as a guide of what is to come in the future under this administration specifically. because we don't know in 3 years what the next president will do. Hopefully it's Thomas Massey and he like totally cuts them all out. But, you know, in the next 3 years with this budget, you can have an idea, if you have a understanding of like the military and the way things function even on a basic level, of what we are about to get ourselves into with Israel. So I ask everyone, NDAAFY 26, in I believe it was the end of June, they published a 15-page document with like high level key points that I think any high school educated person can read and understand.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is, I want to see if both or all three of you, Colonel Aguilar, Captain Josephine, and Sergeant Estridge. Zaddy is up on the panel. He was the one that says he's a combat vet. He's he works in cybersecurity or security intelligence, or I don't know what.
Here we go.
He's a Zionist. He's pro-Israel. So would you like to hear what he would have to say?
As long as he can introduce himself by his first and last name, I'm open to talking to him. If he wants to stay anonymous, honestly, I don't have anything I don't want to platform him.
Wait,
Taz,
okay,
I don't
so
even know what you want. Like, if you have a question, Taz, just let me know, because like everything that these guys have spewed,
okay.
Anthony's stuff's
Hey,
been
Zaddy, do
absolutely
you have
shredded.
a first and last name that you'd like to give us?
Let me see. If you're gonna give your first and last name
Oh
as,
God,
what is it?
what?
She's asked you a question.
Why would I give her my first and last name?
If
I
he
mean, all
doesn't
they've
want to
done
give
is
his
trot out
first and
anti-Semitic
last
tropes
name,
and
to me,
confirmed your
like
own
he's,
bias.
Oh,
Like, their
excuse me,
vernacular
one
isn't even
second.
correct.
if he doesn't want to give his first and last name and he wants to hide behind Zaddy of all things, unfortunately, like I don't engage with those type of people.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't worry, I wouldn't engage with you professionally on.
Great.
Goodbye.
Bye.
All right. We'll go ahead and open the panel for a few more questions from the viewers. But I think like this is exactly what we say. Why? I don't know if it's almost like people are hiding and they don't want to show that they are pro-Israel anymore nowadays. It's because people are looking at those that are pro-Israel in a weird way, especially veterans. You know, why support Israel when they're just leeching off of America as a veteran? Um, so Captain Josephine, I love that response. Go
No
ahead.
one wants to go Zionist anymore.
Go ahead. Hussam, did you want to ask a question?
Yeah, thank you, Taz. Just a brief question. Well, first, thanks for coming on here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you guys speaking out for our people. We really do. But a question from your perspective and your experience with all that's being said in the media, all that's being said about the cause. Are more people in the military, in your opinion, at least waking up or starting to question the narrative that's being spewed, especially about the Israel and Palestine situation? Or are they behind the scenes, maybe potentially just being quiet about it, knowing there's going to be consequences?
I'll
Okay,
give
who
that one
would?
to you guys because I've been out since 2023, so I only have like so much experience when it comes to like active duty right now.
Okay.
So for me, I'm a firm believer of no politics at work, no. Basically, when I go to work, it's about work. You know, I'm not trying to talk about what's going on in the world. I'm not, because people have their opinions and it would create fights, and I just don't want that in a work environment. You know, we don't talk about the president. We don't talk about, but you know, pretty much anything. Plus, for me, I'm a natural. I was born an introvert. I don't really care to be talking to people too much. I like to stick to myself at work. So that's the good part about IT for me is I work in an office by myself, and I only interact with people when they have problems with their computers and things of that nature. Otherwise, you know, I'm behind my desk just doing my job, and that's pretty much it.
IT.
Yeah.
And Colonel Aguilar, did you want to answer?
So I am, throughout my entire military career, I remained apolitical in terms of, at work or on duty is not a place for discussions on politics or really personal views. And I don't see Jonathan's views or Josie's views while they were still in uniform as personal views. I see their views as ethical, moral positions on really what our Constitution and what we swear and uphold to defend the United States. So I don't see their views in terms of what they've espoused or what they've shared as necessarily political. I don't think that discussions of a genocide should be political. I don't think that the absolute understanding and complete condemnation of starving and killing women and children is political. In my career, I have always remained apolitical. I've said this on a platform before, but I joined the Army at 17 before I was even old enough to vote. And throughout my entire military career, I refrained from voting, not because I don't believe that voting is important. I believe it's incredibly important. But as a military officer, I felt it. I'm very much a believer in the Jeffersonian model and the Washingtonian model of maintaining your apoliticalness and being apolitical and not putting your beliefs or influence on that of your military unit. I think that while you're on duty is not a place for personal views or political talk because it can influence others. But what I want to further add to that is that by no means do I see the stance that Josie took or the stance that Jonathan is taking as political. It's moral. It's actually standing in line with the values of the Constitution we swore and uphold to protect.
I would agree. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There is a question from the chat. It says, okay, can you ask if they know of paid propagandist recruitment from veterans or in the military, or why someone serving might be pro-Israel?
Yes, I am actually familiar. There are think tanks, and the way that I actually learn about this is as a former intelligence officer, my job is to know the enemy, to study the enemy, because when I have to talk to my commander, when he's trying to tell me an operation that they're going to do, I have to know how the enemy is going to respond based on what their resources and capabilities are. They're from all aspects. I mean, it's not just like, inventory, it's psychology, it's a lot of things. When this started, I continued to watch Israeli media. I watch Israeli media every day. I watch Fox News every day. And I started noticing roughly a year ago these specific nonprofit organizations, or like think tanks is what we call them in the military world, defense contractor world, think tanks that were sponsoring these retired colonels, these retired generals that continuously were commentators on like Fox News Live. And so I did like research into these organizations that they are a part of. And basically what happens is these organizations, these Zionist organizations, start hunting down, like head hunting these people down long before they even get out of the military. So when they get out of the military, they offer them these like $300,000 salaries to be a part of these different think tanks to be able to spew this propaganda, right? Because I'm a part of Eisenhower Media Network, and my boss is a 2-star general. And he was in the military 35 years. And so we have a lot of conversations about things that have went on in Syria, things that went on in Libya. Like he's trying to teach me some of the things that actually were happening. And so when I'm receiving like this information from someone who's willing to look at the truth from all sides, and then watching these people lie on Fox News to like thousands of Americans, you start to question why. And it's all about money. they are so hungry for money that they are willing to repeat the lies that they are told to repeat. There are talking points that go out. And you know this. I know everyone that is listening right now knows about the talking points, because in one day you'll have politicians, commentators, mainstream media, all saying the same thing. It's because they send out specific talking points. They'll send mass emails out like, these are the talking points for this event, for this incident, for this week, for this. They just literally feed them what to say. That's how this works.
Wow, that's crazy. I don't think a lot of people probably knew that. And Sergeant Estridge or Colonel Aguilar, did you also want to chime in?
So I think that money, influence, and power are very influential. And for the military, I would say why you see so many, why you see folks that are such zealots for a cause is that, and I use that term specifically because I don't mean courageous or fervent. I mean zealots, where they just don't even question the things that they're saying. They do it because of identity. They do it because of that's what the cool kids are doing. And I'll tell you, the United States military has this very weird romance with the Israeli Defense Forces in thinking that they are so great and the IDF is so good. I believe that. When I first went to Israel on this contract, I was all giddy and excited, getting to meet the IDF, work with the IDF. I thought it was great. And the first day when one of these IDF soldiers came into our operations center and he had the magazine in his weapon backwards, I was like, this is not the IDF I want to emulate. These are clowns. Now, are they all that way? Probably not. I'm sure there's some very elite specialized soldiers, but think about it. We came from the United States Army. The greatest army fielded in the world, in my opinion, from what I've seen and what I've experienced. Morally, ethically, training, expertise, the way we train, how we fight. I don't know why the United States military kowtows to the reputation and or to the pandering of the Israeli Defense Forces. I don't know. That's something that I am deeply intrigued about because I don't see it. I don't see the magic. I don't see the ethical, moral aspect of it. I don't see their think about it. The IDF fight their wars on their soil. Their foreign wars are with their neighbors. The United States and every other military in the world has to be expeditionary, which it's an entirely different league in terms of readiness and preparation as in a fighting force. So I think that, like, for example, someone on X that was taking great effort. I mean, great effort. This guy studied, or this guy looked into me more than I've looked into myself. He found things about me that I never know happened in my life. I mean, this guy, Matt Tardio, like he dug so deep that he found things about me that I didn't even know happened in my life. I mean, it's ridiculous. And when you look at his background, 15 years in the service and was medically discharged because he had asthma that he never disclosed. Like, what? Come on, man. Not a seasoned combatant leader. He's a clown. He's a hack. And when he got out of the Army, not getting retirement, divorced a couple times, his previous wife beat him up after she learned that he claimed to have killed children in Iraq. That's a guy you want to listen to. So when you think about the people that are smearing Josie, smearing Jonathan, smearing me, and you take one look behind the mask, behind the facade of what they have on their handles on Facebook or Twitter or whatever podcast that they do, you can quickly see that, one, it's pandering. Two, it's their desire to be a part of something. I didn't go into this speaking out against I didn't go into this speaking out against anything. I went into this speaking for humanity and speaking for the Palestinians and speaking for morals and virtues. That happens to be against what the IDF want to do. But my voice wasn't coming out necessarily against, it was for. And what I can tell you is that I went into it eyes wide open, not for the friends. I've got enough friends. I mean, I've made some great friends now with Josie and Jonathan and others, and I'm super, super happy I've met them. But I didn't come into this looking for friends. I didn't come into this looking for money or fame or reputation. I was willing to put that all on the line because the people that love me and the people that care about me are always going to be in my life. So for the people that want to trash me online, you look at them like this Ziggity Zadi. What was the guy's name that came on? You said,
I don't even want to say it.
Zaddy, yeah. The dumbass spent 15 minutes waiting to speak and then had nothing good to say. They're clowns. They are clowns, and the majority of them are paid. Like this Matt Tardio guy, UG Solutions pays him. UG Solutions pays him to platform anti-Anthony Aguilar stuff. I'm flattered by that, actually. I am flattered that a company spends money and that another grown man spends his time focused on me. I'm flattered, actually. So they can bring it all they want. All they do
I've been
every time
flattered too.
they try to smear us is they just
it's
throw their
flattering.
asses.
Colonel Aguilar, wait till you get on Canary Mission. Then there's like a Stolen Valor organization that's gonna somehow miraculously get a copy of your DD-214.
Oh, I gave it to them. I would gladly let them see my DD-214 and see my Valor Awards and my 6 years in combat and my 12 deployments and my Purple Heart. I gave it to Matt Tardio. Here's my DD-214. Look at it. I would love to.
It's interesting you say that because he 1 hour ago posted on X. He did a panel with Scott Ritter, and he said, I don't know if you're familiar with Scott Ritter, but he's been very outspoken about what's going on. He was a weapons inspector in the Marine Corps and then became a nuclear inspector.
Ritter's been outspoken in terms of what
on the genocide in Palestine.
Oh wow! And Tardio had him on his platform.
Yes. And 1 hour ago, he posted, was I attacking Scott Ritter or just clearing out the Russian propaganda? Either way, the man got triggered. Scott, I would be happy to put my DD-214 and my arrest record against yours. So
Matt Tardio's wife divorced him,
and
they had a DV episode because she beat him up when she learned of how much of a shitbag he was. So who cares? He's a clown. However, I'm telling you, from all these trashers and smears, Green Beret nap time 1952, whose name is Chase Hill, who is for all intents and purposes a shitty human being. Let them. I don't care. It's like if Jeffrey Epstein was giving me tips on how to run a daycare, I'd be like, don't fucking care, dude.
I feel you.
Colonel, I
Thank
have
you.
a question for you, Colonel. And actually the captain, too. I think you guys said you were in Intel.
I was not. I was not in Intel, nor am I intelligent.
I'm of the belief, with my limited knowledge of Intel, that we haven't needed Israel's intelligence in that region since 9/11, I think. In other words, prior to 9/11, our allyship with Israel was based on the fact that they're the only democracy in the Middle East, right? And that they're our only ally in an area of nothing but adversaries. So we needed that intelligence that they could provide us. So my question is, to what extent do we rely on their intel in 2025?
Well, I think I need to preface what I'm about to say with how the intelligence community works, because just like we're witnessing ICE, this federal agency respond to the requirements of the Trump administration. It works in a similar way in the intelligence community, where there are these requirements that come out of things that we have to participate in and do that are, what I'm realizing now, are aligned with a political agenda. So when you look at what's happening with Israel, I've started looking at Israel as it its connection with the United States. It's like a forward operating base that they have filled with civilians, and they continue to fill with civilians. It's like that is therefore we have, what is it, 880, I think, military bases over 80 countries, or 700 something, 50, I can't remember the exact number. It's almost like another military base that we use in order to have these intelligence capabilities in the Middle East region. And so when you think about, do we really need Israel for intelligence? Well, it depends. Who's the president? What is their agenda? What is the political motives? Look at during when Clinton was the Secretary of State, we saw what happened to Gaddafi. We saw what happened in Libya. This was all a political agenda. So depending on what the political agenda is how you're seeing the intelligence community respond.
Understood. And that's even taking into consideration the bases in Jordan and Egypt.
Oh, it's a little bit muffled, Marine. You just have to speak a little bit louder.
Sorry. I was asking if you take into consideration the bases that we have in Jordan and Egypt and Saudi Arabia and in the region. You still think we need the allyship with Israel? I think what I'm trying to get at is, as U.S. citizens start seeing the real relationship between the U.S. and Israel, and that we don't necessarily need them as an ally out in the Middle East, we can start the realization of the parasite that they are.
No, I don't think we need them as an ally. I think that we would probably have better working relationships with the countries in the Middle East if we were not allied in an alliance with Israel at this point. So no, I think Israel is a threat to our national security. I think it's going to be one of the most impactful causes of the fall of this empire, the American empire. And yeah, and everybody can see it. So the data supports it. The economic data supports it. And so I don't know what kind of blackmail that they have on politicians to allow them to make our empire fall from being the leader. But, at the end of the day, I think we're going to rebirth something new once Israel is dismantled and we no longer consider them an ally, because that will happen. And we're going to have a working relationship with new leaders, with the Arab League and these Arab countries that respects humanity as like the principle of the working relationship.
Inshallah, ya Rab.
Did you want to chime in, Sergeant Estridge? I know I think you wanted to say something, maybe, so I wanted to give you that chance.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think he's pretty much just getting to the point that Israel holds no real value for the United States. And it doesn't. We're paying billions of dollars every year, not just to Israel. We also pay billions of dollars to Egypt to recognize Israel. So, we are sending all this money in support of Israel. And for what? What are we truly getting out of it? There's no real benefit for the American people.
Yes.
They're
100%.
They're taking our money. They have free college. They have free health care. They have all these things that we want in the United States but don't have. And yet we keep giving them money while we have homeless people and we have people starving. We have students that have school lunch debt in our schools. I mean, there's much better places for this money to go to. I would rather be feeding the children in America at school and there not being any student lunch debt than to be giving this money to Israel so that they can kill children in Palestine. Because that's what's happening with our money. They're using it to kill children. And they're paying they're playing us for fools. They're just taking our money and laughing at us as a nation.
Wow. That was, from Captain Josephine and Sergeant Estridge, what you both just said, absolutely 100%. And And we are seeing, this is exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing more people come out, you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene coming out and speaking out against AIPAC. That is significant, and exposing foreign lobby in America and the influence it has. Thank you, Maureen, for your question. Real quick, we'll go to Flower Power. Thank you so much for joining us. I wanted you to, you know, see if you wanted to have any insight or input. You know, I know you host a lot of also lives speaking about America as an American, and we have three amazing veterans. So I wanted to see if you had anything to, you know, add and any input.
Yeah, hey, sorry I didn't answer back earlier. I'm working nights. I was asleep all day, so I'm still waking up. But I wanted to say first of all to Josephine, I think that was amazing. If people aren't willing to give their name and then speak out, then they shouldn't have a platform. So to start, I will tell y'all my name is Terry Lathan. I did serve in the Army. I'm not as decorated as some of y'all, and I do
Oh,
appreciate
wow.
appreciate y'all speaking out because just based on y'all's rank, y'all probably have way more information than most people who even serve. Because I got out as an E5 sergeant, so I mean, y'all probably know a lot more than me. And I've been out for a while because I'm 41 now, so I've been out for a little while. But just speaking on the intel of Israel and whether we need it or not, we also have to consider can we trust it or not because they've been known to tell untruths before. They've been known to spy on our government before, and can we even trust the intel? And as far as I'm concerned, it's definitely not worth the money that we spend on it. And even last month, there was a funding bill that was in Congress, and an amendment was put forth to just annex 50 million, I mean 500 million that is going to Israel currently on top of the 3.3 billion that we send every year. And that amendment was struck down almost immediately. Only six of our Congress members voted against stopping that money from going to Israel. So that tells you how many people within our government has sold out to AIPAC, has sold out to these lobbyists, and are no longer working in our favor. And I think that's scary. I think it's very scary. If you're in America and you're not concerned with how deeply embedded Israel is in our government, aside from what's going on within the Middle East, just within our government, then you're sleeping and you need to wake up because they are deeply, deeply embedded in our government. And I just wanted to come up and say thank y'all for being able for speaking out because you do risk the backlash of being doxxed or it's not a real popular opinion to have and supporting Palestine and so I wanted to say thank y'all for speaking out. I really do appreciate it.
Can you please reach out to me? I'm always looking to connect with more veterans for all these like different campaigns I'm doing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Especially now, like I like want to make this, it's on my mind. A boat will be sailing to deliver aid inside of Gaza that will be all veterans. So in the coming time frame, very short time frame, there will be a boat filled with veterans, and we're going to need all the support, all hands on deck, if you will, to make sure that there's an awareness about that.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Flower, for joining. I had no idea that you served. Wow. I'm so glad that you were able to join us.
I thought you knew.
I had
Yeah.
no idea. Wow.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, and I still have family members. I'm not going to give too much information on that are serving. And whenever I heard that we were potentially going to fight another war and everything that was going on with Iran previously, it really scared me with the people that I still have serving and with in my family and things. Because we, like somebody said before, we signed to fight for our country, not to serve the interests of another country. And even when Candace Owens spoke out about it, saying I can't remember her exact words, but she was basically saying. Um, that it would be better to just get out of the military than to go serve the interests of another country. She got a ton of backlash for it. I mean, you can't speak out against certain things without getting doxxed these days, and I think that's unfortunate.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Flower, for joining us, and thank you for your service. Go ahead, Abu Adam.
Howdy, how y'all doing? First of all, I just want to say thank y'all for your service, and thank you even more for coming out and speaking on the truth. As they say, truth is the first casualty of war. So I know it's gotta suck when y'all are doing your thing and you get called out for speaking the truth. It's the hardest thing ever. I have a question. As American Palestinian, born and raised in this country, what can we do, you think? You know, the ones that are not in the service, that don't work in the government. What do you think we can do as Americans and as Palestinians for this country, and if you think for back home also? Like, what would be your advice that would resonate the most with the people down here? Especially me, because I'm in Texas, so I'm in the deep south, and I love this place.
Well, I am glad you asked the question, because guess who has been a part of think tanks more recently asking that exact question? We have been looking at that exact question from short-term, medium-term, and long-term objectives of what you can do as a Palestinian community and the diaspora inside of America. Long-term, medium to long-term, you have to become more a part of the community. And what I'm saying is, oftentimes we visit the grocery stores or the farmers markets or the mall where just our community is. So like where I live, for example, it's predominantly white people. I don't even know how many people in my neighborhood have truly witnessed someone in a hijab, for example. So it's still this like foreign concept to them about the Muslim religion, about or the Islamic religion. You have to interject yourself into the communities more, become more a part of parent-teacher conferences, of, you know, like anything and everything. Interject yourself into different communities, not just your own, but different communities. Because one of the biggest differences that you can make as a Muslim or an Arab inside of America is to meet someone in person, and it will break down billions of dollars and decades of propaganda about you. So medium to long-term goals, I would like to see the diaspora be more, not only Palestinians, of all, you know, countries from the Middle East, or countries in general, really, just having the courage to get out there more into the community. Run for local offices too, city council, sit on your parent-teacher conference board or your education board. All these like small, the Rotary Club, for example, is like huge in America. You have to get involved more in the community, because you need more people to meet you to break those walls down. Short term, you have to go to your state congressionals. You can't, not calling, not emailing. You need to physically go to their office until they get a meeting with you. You need to do outreach, knock on doors, Christian churches. The Palestinian Christians is, I mean, we're talking about, they are about to be ethnically cleansed. Like in a matter of like years, it seems they're going to be displaced around the world. They need to be knocking on Christian churches' doors, on our leaders' doors. It's going to take more activism from the diaspora to get out of that comfort zone, to get use of rejection. I say the 9 out of 10 rule. 9 rejections, 1 win. It was worth it, right? So just get used to being rejected, knowing that a win is coming.
Thank you so much, Captain Josephine. Colonel Aguilar or Sergeant Estridge, if you wanted to chime in. Otherwise, we can go to the next question.
For me, the main thing I would say is just, you know, continue to be the voice for your brothers and sisters that are still suffering in Gaza and still suffering in Palestine. Continue to be their voice. You know, don't stop talking about it. Let everyone know, because that's what we got to do. We have to keep talking about it. We have to keep letting people know, so that, you know, the world can wake up and say, hey, it's time to stop what Israel's doing in this country.
100%. Colonel Aguilar, did you want to say anything?
I just think from a humanitarian perspective, from a moral ethical perspective, there's no question what the right thing to do is. And I do think that rational opinion and popular opinion are beginning to sway towards seeing the truth. It's getting harder and harder every day to defend Israel's actions. Even in the latest with the tank shot or the bomb that was dropped or however, I think it's ridiculous that when Israel does anything that they investigate it themselves and that they're the final authority on what happened, and then we all believe it. It's like, oh, Israel said they didn't do it. Guess they didn't do it, but all evidence points to them having done it. But I think that's starting to get really old for a lot of people. They're starting to see through the truth and reality. And what I think also, even for those that are, in MAGA world, is that if the whole presumption is America first, why are we putting Israel first? Like, if the entire position is America first, let's put America first. So there's that argument too. So yeah, it's I do feel that overall the tide is the tide is shifting. It's not happening fast enough, but more and more action, contacting your representatives, going to their offices. Don't be ignored. Don't be ignored. That's what I would say.
And if you do get ignored and you want to move into like an escalation of actions, if you want to do something similar to like what I did, basically where I interrupted the Veteran Affairs Committee hearing or the Pete Hegseth hearing, it literally only costs $35. You get arrested, you pay $35. It takes about 2 hours. They process you out, and it's like getting a jaywalking ticket. But it's very impactful. So don't be afraid to do those things. Like, we need more people. Look at what's happening in the UK. Hundreds and hundreds of people are willing to be arrested just for holding a sign that they support Palestine action. Where are we at in America? Like, we have catching up to do for sure, because we need brave souls that are willing to put themselves out there like that. And I think, like I said, like, it's not the consequences to your life and career are not detrimental to do something like that. And so just like start considering these nonviolent escalations. Someone keeps asking about Leahy laws and in the comment section, and just to like kind of put that to bed. The way that Leahy laws work, from what I understand from Hala Rahit was an Arabic translator. She was in the State Department, a State Department diplomat for, I think, 18 years. If you haven't seen any of her interviews, I would suggest that you go on YouTube and Google Hala Rahit. She's a very dear friend of mine now. Resolution, are you listening here? I'm answering Leahy laws. You're blowing up the chat about Leahy laws, so listen up. She talks about how cables are transmitted when it comes to the State Department, because the Leahy laws, the Congress relies on the Department of State to provide the burden of proof that a foreign entity is violating the Leahy laws. That means you have to understand how the cables are circulating into these final reports that are being given to the congressionals. There is, and you can look at Stacy Gilbert. She was a former State Department official. She did humanitarian work for 23 years for the State Department. Google Stacy Gilbert. She's given many interviews about where there is a breakdown inside of the Department of State where they are protecting Israel and why the Leahy laws are not being applied. So Stacy Gilbert and Hala Rahit, many hours of interviews where you can learn more about that.
Thank you so much, Captain Josephine. We'll go to Elmo.
Hey, Taz, thank you for having me. I want to say Thank you guys so much for being here and joining us on this amazing platform and actually having the opportunity to speak to you guys. I do have a quick question, and actually it relates to, as you guys are serving and have been in the US military, the soldiers that are currently operating the THAAD system in Israel. And I'm not sure, how do American soldiers feel in regard of that? And do they feel that they are protecting America by just being there on a foreign soil to use American weapons to defend a foreign nation that did not benefit America in any way or assist America in any way, as we have seen, other than just draining the US more for money and weapons?
Honestly, like I couldn't speak on how they feel personally, but I know how I would feel. And if I was told you're being shipped to Israel tomorrow to help the Israelis, I would not go. I'd be a conscientious objector, because there's no way I'm ever going to help Israel commit genocide. It's just not going to happen.
You know, I asked this question too, like, how are we still here where we have so much support of our military? You know, we're watching C-130s going back and forth to Israel to deliver weapons. And what's crazy is my father-in-law, I'm here in Ohio, and my father-in-law's neighbor is a senior enlisted Air Force active duty. And I've become very close with his wife talking about this issue. And he's been to Israel a dozen times just in 2 years from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base to deliver weapons to Israel. And why? You know, I asked that question, like, why? There are so many factors of why, but I really think that we are so censored still in America. And, you know, I didn't have social media before this. I mean, I did, but I think I had like 100 followers on Instagram. I didn't have a TikTok. I made a TikTok to go live on Eric Warsaw's TikTok. I didn't have, many people in the military don't use social media, especially once you're in higher ranks. Like, they don't really watch the news. They rely on their day-to-day interactions with their colleagues for like information. I just don't know if people realize how bubbled our active duty people are here. One factor. And like the second factor is the people that aren't bubbled are most likely watching Fox News. And I watch Fox News every day to see what BS they're saying. If you only watch Fox News, you would not have any idea about what is actually going on. And so you have to just remember that from a strategic point, because we can only tackle the situation if we understand it fully. And so if you can understand it fully, that's when you begin to create solutions to bridge that situation, to bring active duty people into, you know, this fight. And that's why Jonathan is so important, because once this makes it past, you know, these initial phases of what's going on, this is going to make it to mainstream media where active duty will not be able to ignore it. It's going to open up a bridge for them to become more curious about why, you know, and even Colonel Aguilar's position, the position that he took, it opens the door for them to become at least a little bit curious, to start doing more research about what's actually going on. And that's what we need. We need to ignite curiosity and make them start doubting this narrative that they have been brainwashed with.
Thank you, Captain Josephine. Yep, go ahead, Sergeant.
To that point, Task and Purpose did interview me yesterday, and Al Jazeera interviewed me today. So the Task and Purpose is already out on their website, and I'm not really sure when the Al Jazeera post will be out, but
are you trying to do interviews right now?
I am doing interviews right now.
He
Aguilar,
is.
Aguilar, it's time to hook him up. Hook him up with the journalist contacts and everything. I didn't realize. I thought maybe you were waiting here. Hey, look. Okay, well, we got a
My
job.
thing is, if my career is over, why should I stop now? You know, if they're gonna kick me out, then I may as well, you know, let everyone know about everything. And
Yes.
so yeah, I've been doing the interviews. This is my actual third live event on X. I did one last night, then I jumped on one this morning, and then I'm on this one. And I've had requests from other people too that I have yet to answer, because you know there's a lot of, my inbox is pretty full.
Wow, that's amazing. You know, Colonel Aguilar, if you want to maybe share any advice, or if you wanted to chime in on the question that Elmo asked. Otherwise, if you want to maybe share any advice for Sergeant Estridge.
Yeah, you know, really, it's to go to media on the record is a personal choice, and it's a choice that, you know, you have to be committed to. You're already on the record, so you've stepped into that fire. Just remain true to your principles, true to your message. What I have to say, I don't feel, and it's actually not that I don't feel, it's not political. When I went to the Senate, I talked to Republicans and Democrats, and my message was the same. I didn't craft it differently for who I was talking to. You know, when I did Tucker Carlson, he and I were, you know, I did one episode with Tucker Carlson, and then I went for the second one. I went to his home studio, and we were kind of chatting there. And you know, he said, after my first Tucker Carlson piece aired, he said, you know, never would I have thought in one day that I'd had an interview with somebody that in the same day hit in Mother Jones, Al Jazeera, PBS, and on, you know, the Tucker Carlson show all in one day for the same person. So I don't believe your message is political. I believe that your message is clear. So don't be afraid to talk to numerous outlets, whether they're far right or far left or in the middle or up, down, in between. Be true to your message. Stay firm in what you have to say. Don't be dissuaded by criticism, because I'm going to tell you the majority of the criticism that you're going to get are from bots or people like Zappy Doodah, whatever his name was, that hide behind a handle with no name, and they're clowns. So whenever I get smeared or I get hate from somebody that has some stupid fake name like Cletus on X, I wear it like as a badge of courage, a badge of honor. I slap another patch on my shoulder for another weirdo that I pulled out of the dark. So just be firm in who you are and realize that you have support, and that there will be haters, but they're getting paid to be haters. You're more of a soldier than they ever were, and just stay confident and stay true to your message, and don't be afraid to go on any outlet. Message is the message. And I've gone from Pierce Morgan to Tucker Carlson to MSNBC to the left to the right, and I even had one when I was on Pierce where Jonathan Conricus, the IDF propagandist, for the first 2.5 minutes just flamed me with every possible insult that he could hurl at me, from my personal life to my military experience to everything in between. And I loved it, because he wasted his entire platform to speak on what he could have spoke about, and he wasted that time on just, you know, basically what I would equate to playground bullying. And I just sat there and listened to him when he was done. I was like, thank you for your opinion. Here's some facts now. Don't stoop to their level. Don't stoop to the level of wanting to smear back, because one, people don't respect it. These people that smear people, the people that follow them don't respect what they're doing. They follow it because it's a show. It's a circus. That's why they follow it. So stay true to your values. Don't be afraid to go on platforms that span the scope of views and perspectives, and just be true to your narrative. The facts are the facts. The truth is the truth, and stick with that, and you will be just fine.
Wow,
Yeah,
amazing.
it doesn't
Go
really
ahead.
bother me when people troll me. Like I see, obviously there's a lot of comments on since I've started this that I can't go through all of them, but the few comments I have gone through, it's like I see a lot of mostly positive. I would say 99% positive, if not 99.9%. But you got the small people that want to, put in their 2 cents when they're in the wrong. And I just see those. Some of them I've blocked, and some of them I'm just like, I don't really care. It depends on how bad it is as to whether I'll block it or not if I see it. Because I did first day I had one death threat already, so I
Wow.
blocked it. Probably should have reported it, but instead I just blocked them.
So
it's gonna happen.
one of the groups under UG Solutions, a large component of the group that's in Gaza, the majority of their recruits came from an organization called the Infidels Motorcycle Club. And before my BBC piece hit with me on the record, on 2 occasions, the Infidels Motorcycle Club followed me home, cut me off from coming into my neighborhood, and then had some words with me. And one of the guys in the Infidels Motorcycle Club, because they're all veterans and Fayetteville has a large chapter, was in this little group of 4. And I looked at him and I was like, I was your commander at one point. Remember when your wife divorced you and took everything and you needed an Army Emergency Relief Fund, a loan to help bail you out of your financial trouble? And who was there to sign that paperwork for you? I was. So get on your little motorcycle and get the fuck out of here. They also threatened my wife and child. They were going to the grocery store and they surrounded them in the parking lot and came up to tell her to tell your husband to shut the F up. And my wife was like, that's cute. I don't care who you are. I think his nickname was like Mustache Ride or something like that. Like, get out of here, little boy. They're clowns. They're weak. They're looking for attention and they're looking for belonging in their lives. Maybe their moms didn't love them. Maybe their dads didn't love them. I don't know. They need therapy. Don't worry about what they say, and don't stoop to their level, because there's no end to it. There's no right answer. It's a battle that it's a battle that you will never win. And the more they drag you into it, the more they win. So just ignore them, because they need follows. Every time you say something back, it gets them more follows, and then just ignore them. I think that's the best. I just flat out ignore them. I mean, they've said everything from, I'm an idiot and I never went to school. Okay, well, that's not true. I wasn't in the Army. Some even people in the beginning were saying that I wasn't a citizen of the United States. I was, okay. Just ignore it. It's ridiculous. It's funny. Like I said, they've discovered more things out there about me than I even knew about myself. I even had to call my mom and ask them, my mom, was this true? I didn't know I was born hermaphrodite. No one told me. So, I mean, just the things they'll lobby to you are ridiculous. So relish in it and realize that for every bot or clown, there's 10 people out there that support you.
Yep.
Yeah, I got death threats myself. My family's gotten death threats. My car has been broken into. My tires have been slashed. I've been interrogated by Mossad on a plane, who was able to move me to first class, Colonel Aguilar. Be careful. They have the ability to arrange the manifest so you can change seats. And none of that has deterred me, because, I think especially Jonathan, you've been in the military 20 years. You were a young adult, young child. Not, you weren't a child when you joined, but and you knew what you were signing up for was to give your life for this country. And I feel like this battle that we are fighting is no different. And so these threats, they're just empty threats for me. And I also believe in my Second Amendment right. And I carry, and my family carries, and our vehicles we carry, and I'd like to see him try.
Yep.
And let me add, so for every small group individuals that are going against you. There's millions and millions that do support you guys. So yeah, definitely keep up the good work. Colonel Aguilar, I'm in the DC area. I'm part of a group that we do a lot of community outreach and different types of protests. We were able to locate people from the GHF. So we were able to locate John Aker, John Moore, and Jake Wood's homes. We visited their homes and organized protests right outside for the goal and purpose to let their neighbors know that they are living right next to war criminals. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of us that do support you all, and just keep up that good work.
I think Colonel Aguilar wanted to say something about that. Let me unmute you. There you go.
To the gentleman that just spoke, yeah, I was tracking the protests in the area, and I say those are everything. Everything matters. Voices and speaking to Congress and to the Senate, and it's kind of like in the military. You know, you have a main effort and you have supporting efforts. You have a decisive operation and you have shaping operations. And at any given time in different places, that mission can change. At times, the taking to the streets, the grassroots type of things, that's needed. The going to Congress and talking to senators and congressmen in a formal setting, that's needed. Going into the halls, I tell people this all the time, that the U.S. Capitol and the Capitol buildings where Congress is, where all their fancy offices are, that's the people's house. You pay for that. You are darn right entitled to go in there anytime. In fact, if you're just in D.C. and you want to go to the Dunkin' Donuts in the basement of the the representative offices are, you can do that. It's the people's house. Don't be afraid to exercise your constitutional rights. Constitutional rights don't end at 4. So go to these places. It takes every avenue and approach, because the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation is deeply entrenched in the cabal of power in DC. And until that shifts, where those people in power know that, well, who do I want to align with? The popular vote, the popular opinion, the popular people, or this weirdo Johnny Moore who sells Bibles on HGTV at 2 a.m. Like, who do I want to align myself with? So that stuff matters, because I guarantee you, I'm telling you this as someone that's lived it. More and more of those contractors, now that the first 90-day contract ended on the 21st of August, and they've come home and they're not on that paycheck anymore, it's going to get a lot harder to stay quiet and turn the other way when it's obvious you've seen things and it's obvious that the truth is coming out. And I'll tell you, even while I was there, it wasn't necessarily a hard decision, but I looked at it at one point when I jumped into wanting to go on the record against what I saw and what I feel is a genocide that GHF is behind in terms of being a tool of the genocide. And I truly believe that, is that, man, if I just kept my mouth shut, no one would know what's going on in Gaza. No one would question it. No one could say, question me about what I saw, because they weren't there. And I could, take that $1,500 a day I was making. Oh yeah, they pay buku money, and just pocket that and not say a thing and be happy as a clam. But I have morals and I have ethics, and I couldn't live with myself in that, knowing that there's, not because of just my morals and ethics, but knowing factually that there is a population of people that are being treated with absolute indignity, and there is a genocide, and that genocide is being executed through starvation and depravity and dehumanization. And that's not acceptable to myself, and I don't think it's acceptable to the world. And when the truth is known, I believe there'll be more action. So to what y'all were doing, I watched the video of the protests at Johnny's Moore house. I think he lives like in a gated community, and y'all didn't stop there. Y'all took to the streets. Y'all went to other places. The protest against John Acri, I think there was one in North Carolina where they protested against Jameson Giovanni, the CEO of UG Solutions. Grassroots, man. Everything matters. Everything matters.
100%. I think we have one more question, and we'll wrap it up from there. Go ahead, Linda. You wanted to ask another question?
Yeah, I wanted to bring it back to Gaza for a moment. Given the most recent attack on the hospital, my question relates to the principle of proportionality regarding the rules of war, right? Because for the past 2 years, we've heard so much propaganda and excuses surrounding the targeting of hospitals, schools, libraries, mosques, churches, you name it. So I would like a brief explanation from you all, those of you who have actually served in the armed forces, as to what the principle of proportionality is and why the targeting of civilians, whether or not you suspect that there is a combatant in the area, is against international law.
I'll give you like this quick, I guess, like, at the end of the day, there is a human being that is making this decision. And so you have to understand the way that military operations work when it comes to civilian casualties, of what I have witnessed when it comes to Israel, not America, because like, I'm not saying that the American military is innocent by any means in things that they have participated in, but I can say for a fact that in my 17 years of service, I have never witnessed anything like this. I know that for a fact. And I'm not saying I haven't witnessed things that I don't question. I definitely do. But the way that the Israeli government and the Israeli forces are looking at what is going on is by the perspective of the military advantage. And when you consider a military advantage over collateral damage, and like there is no weight. There's nothing that, if you have like this weight scale, there is nothing that, there is no amount of people or infrastructure that you can put on the other side that the Israeli government is going to view as something that will outweigh the military advantage and the goals and objectives that they actually have. And so this question, as it does apply to conventional warfare, this is not conventional warfare. This is a genocide. So proportionality is not even in the slightest way existing here.
How can someone help me? This is such a boomer question. How do I share a picture? Can I?
Like the one that's not
I have a
printed, like
picture
you.
that I just pulled out of my archives here of my first day driving into Gaza through what was once Rafah, and I want everybody to take a look at this to understand the level of destruction.
Okay. And it's on your phone right now, or is it on a in front
It's
of
on
you on
my
a different?
phone.
Okay. All right, we're gonna try to do this. So on the bottom, there's going to be actually Linda, because I see it different. Linda or Elias, if you guys can get him to show the green screen.
Okay, so your camera's already on. Hang on, let me see. So when you tap the camera and it's on, there should be effects, right? You're gonna scroll to the left, and then there's an up arrow. Click that up arrow, and then you're gonna scroll some more to the left until you come to green screen, and it should be the second option. It's the picture with the arrow down on it, and then you can select the photo from your album.
Oh,
Yep, just make sure you press the like the right photo, because we'll see whatever you have. I think you have to
You have
press
to hit
save though.
save. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
yeah. So where do I go? So I see. Okay, trending.
Where's
It's like,
trending?
I think to the right, there's green screen, right?
Yeah. So did you hit the up arrow? There's play, face, green screen. Select
Yep.
green screen. It's the second
Green
option.
screen. Okay, green screen. What do I do?
Second option under green screen. It's the photo with the down arrow. and then you can select from your phone and hit save after.
Yeah, just make sure you click the right photo, because we'll all see your picture, the photo that you'll select.
This is so that question of proportionality specifically, it just triggered in my mind the very first day, the 24th of May, when I went into Gaza and actually saw what was there for the first time. Let's see, where is it?
Did you find the green screen?
Yep.
Okay. Did you select the second option?
I think, are you scrolling through the pictures to look for them?
So I did that now. I added the pictures in there. What do I do? Hit add?
And then save. So if you selected
Save.
the picture, oh, okay.
Now I'm.
Wait a minute. I
Wait,
don't know what we did there.
it's supposed to.
Josie, don't laugh at me. I'm old.
It's right. We're
Okay,
learning together.
you have to go back searching for the picture.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. So you
Just
kind
get
of,
out of the
oh,
way.
just get out of the way. Yeah, go to the, okay, so now,
Okay.
yeah.
So this right here, I'm in the vehicle driving here, and
Wow.
with this picture here, and then so that's actually driving into Gaza, and this is Rafah. And when we came through the Karim Shalom crossing in the south, and I was in an armored vehicle with I was in the armored vehicle with another military veteran, another retired officer, actually, another retired SF lieutenant colonel who was there on contract. He resigned the next 2 days later after this, by the way, because he was like, I can't be a part of this. But we drove into here, and the driver, the other lieutenant colonel that was in the TC seat, or troop command, basically the right passenger seat, and I was in this middle jump seat. And we drove in there, and we were speechless. Like, it was so difficult to wrap your mind around the level of destruction. And as Josie had said, you know, I fought in Syria, Raqqa, Deir down on the border. I fought all throughout Afghanistan, Iraq, the southern Philippines. And when I saw Baghouz Fakhani in the south, where ISIS surrendered, I thought I had seen the worst of the worst. I thought I had seen destruction that couldn't be compared to anything else. What I saw in Gaza, by far exceeds anything I have ever seen or experienced in combat and war around the world, in high intensity conflict to low intensity conflict. But also, to the question that you said of proportionality. Proportionality is absolutely an aspect of the Geneva Convention, international humanitarian law, and the laws of armed conflict. The reason the proportionality thing hit my head, because the guy sitting, the other retired Green Beret lieutenant colonel that was sitting there, we drive in there and we're just, like I said, we're just in awe. Like, no words to describe it. And he turns back over his left shoulder and he looks at me and he's like, well, I think it's safe to say that Israel passed the threshold of proportionality a long time ago. This isn't war. This is annihilation. And that's what that guy said. And I couldn't agree more. I was just looking at this. I'm like, yeah, this isn't war. This is annihilation. This goes further than war. This is hate and dehumanization at a scale that the world has never seen. And what I will tell everybody, mark my words as you're listening to this. The IDF has gone into northern Gaza. You think this looks bad? Wait until more images and leaks of footage comes out of northern Gaza that's been cut off completely, nothing in and out, that's been bombed relentlessly. I watched the bombs drop into Gaza night after night after night. Every night that I was in Gaza, watched the bombs drop and fall and land in northern Gaza. What we are going to see in the coming days is going to bring us to our knees as a world. We're going to see destruction, annihilation, desperation, starvation on a scale that we have not seen. And I'm not going to say since World War II, because this level of destruction pales in comparison to what we saw in World War II Europe. It's more destructive than what was left in the aftermath of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. It makes one sick to see it. So to your question of proportionality, Israel stepped over the line of proportionality years ago. And the world is in for a rude awakening to what the truth is going to be. And there's no hiding from it. You can't hide this. You can't pretend this doesn't exist. And when this comes out and the world sees it, Israel is going to stand there and you know what they're going to say? Well, America helped us. Don't blame me. America was right here with me. GHF, that's America. The displacement for food, that's America. All these bombs you gave us, that's America. They're going to point the finger at us faster than your head can turn. So be ready for that, world, because that's what's next if we don't stand up against what's happening. These images, that was once a home. No, actually, no, that picture right there, that was once a school. That was a fucking school. That was a school. There's nothing left of Rafah, of Khan Yunis, of Berij, of Mawasi, of Deir Bala. There's nothing left. What's happening in northern Gaza right now is going to make this look humane. And it's going to make the world sick. So I showed these pictures that I had from Rafah, from the children that were starving, from Amir who had been killed, and from this young girl who on site number 3 in southern Khan Yunis, when I said, it's time to go home now, you have to go home. And she looked me in the face and she said, this was my home. My home used to be right here until it was blown up and destroyed. And now it's in a pile of rubble over there because you made space for this place to give us, to say that you're giving us food and there's no food. And she looked at me and she said, you go home. That's what the world's about to face. And when I showed these pictures and I showed these senators and they looked at them and I could see their face where they wanted to look away, I looked at them and I said, don't look away. Don't you dare look away. You look at it. You look at it, you recognize it, and you own this because we're a part of it. Don't look away. Do something or continue with the complicity, but don't you dare look away. It's brutal. It's annihilation. It's barbaric. It's brutality at a scale that the world it's gonna take days to even wrap your head around. I've seen it. And I'm not talking about something that I just pulled pictures from the internet or got someone else's experience from a podcast. I was there. I smelled it. I smelled death on a scale that it fills the air. When the human body is breaking down and starving, and that smell that exudes from the body when it's dying, I smelled that on a scale that I've never seen before. And I've been around a lot of it. So I'm telling you, to your question about the proportionality piece, great question.
Thank you,
The
Colonel.
IDF stepped beyond the line of proportionality a long time ago. This is not a war. This is annihilation.
Thank you both.
Wow. Thank you so much, Colonel Aguilar. And I think these conversations are, so important to hear and to have, and for everybody to witness. Like, thank you for sharing that that photo with us. And that's one photo among many. And like you said, we're going to see even worse moving forward. I just, wanted to thank, all three of you, Sergeant Estridge, Captain Josephine and Colonel Aguilar, for being with us today. Is there any last, a message coming from you wonderful veterans here with us today for everybody watching?
I have two things. Number one, if you are not involved in a divestment coalition locally in your state, you need to find out who those people are. They need all hands on deck. This is like, a more medium long-term objective for us to divest from Israel, but there are opportunities and they need the people to show up and be a part of these campaigns. So please figure out how to get involved with the divestment coalitions that are local to you. And number two, I hope to see everyone at the People's Conference for Palestine in Detroit this weekend.
I'll be there.
Oh, wow. Amazing.
You're going to be my Jedi leader.
Wow, phenomenal.
I got you.
Sergeant Estridge, is there anything that even just a message from you, experiencing and going through this, and what your message to everyone, even those that may be, hesitant to speak out against, Israel, just having, whether it's social media, etc.
You just got to take that plunge. It's kind of a head first thing. Every post that I posted, in the back of my mind, I always said, if you do this, something bad's gonna happen. You probably shouldn't do it. And then I did it anyway. And each post, I just kept doing it. And I had those thoughts, but you just have to push through the thoughts of what may happen to you, because the world needs this. We have to stand up for Palestine. We have to stand up for humanity. We just have to.
Yeah, absolutely. They need us. They need us. And as, Americans, I think making sure and pushing that message that America first, and keeping the tax dollars of Americans in America and not funding the current genocide that we're witnessing. And it's so important. It's such an important message. Colonel Aguilar, anything else that you wanted to add? I think you had a very powerful testimony that we just heard, but if you wanted to add anything else.
No, I'm just grateful for everyone that has the courage and conviction to continue to stand up for what's right. And as Jonathan said, this is about standing up for dignity. This isn't political. This isn't choosing a side. This is choosing the side of humanity. So if you want to choose a side to be on the side of humanity is what I would ask. But to everyone on the platform and everyone that keeps the message up, even to Ziggy Zaggy Pants, who was on earlier, who listened to us, maybe he learned something.
Is there somebody's asking if you're willing to make, I know you don't have any social media, but are you willing to make one eventually? Or no?
I barely know how to use my phone. If I do, I'll need help.
We'll see. Maybe we can push him. What do you think, Captain Josephine?
Oh, we'll get him there. We'll get him there.
We'll walk you through it.
I mean, I still check my MySpace every day.
MySpace is wild.
I didn't even know that was
Does it
still a
still
thing anymore.
exist? I was gonna say.
It does,
Is it
because
still up?
if you continue to log into it every 24 hours, your account didn't get erased. So Tom's not even on there anymore. It's just me.
That's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Do you have music in the background though? Like, I remember like they would have music.
Yeah, I have a Nirvana Nevermind as my background, because that was the only song I could get on that you could download at the time under what was that app? The one you can download songs illegally.
Shazam or something?
No, this was long before Shazam.
Oh, not Shazam. The other one. It started with a K.
Napster. Thank you.
Napster.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There was
Showing
also
my
another one.
age.
Yeah.
And when I graduated from West Point, I was so big on getting Napster because as a cadet you couldn't have it because it was considered an honor violation because you were stealing. So right after I commissioned and graduated as a second lieutenant, I was just downloading all this I was like, man, all this music for free. I didn't have to have my CDs anymore.
Oh
Yeah,
my
Metallica
God, that is
ruined it for us.
hilarious.
Don't be an ageist.
Oh my God, no, we're not. We support everyone. We're so proud of you. We really are. We're proud of all of you, and Sergeant Estridge, we are so proud of you for speaking out and what you're going through. And you have, Captain Josephine, Colonel Aguilar there to help you with anything that you need. And you have all of us here as your support. And the entire world is also watching and is proud of all of you. Really, you powerful voices, and we're also proud of you. Thank you so much, Sergeant Estridge, Colonel Aguilar. Thank you for joining last minute, and Captain Josephine for joining us today. I thank you all for being with us.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. It's great to see you all again.
You
If
guys.
I don't see you before, Josie, I'll see you this weekend.
Thank you guys.